It's a child rights, the Convention Against Torture on an international level. This is an international crime. But you have in Hawaii, against nature, a bill right now for doing genital mutilation on children. That's coming up, right, Representative? They call it transition?
Sex reassignment.
Sex reassigning, you can call it what you want. Female genital mutilation is an international crime according to the United Nations.
Well, the Department of Health introduced that, supported by the governor. So we are.
So we're exposing works of darkness right now. That's what we're doing. You have undercover footage of people involved in an organization that take babies that are aborted and take them apart and sell their parts.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And this is exposed. And the whole world sees it on the internet, and yet you could be arrested if you peacefully protest. You know, the United States Constitution says that you have basic rights of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and yet the freedom of religion. And so if you have a problem with babies being killed before they're born, or babies killed after they're born, or adults being killed, if you're against humans being killed, and I'm a doctor, so I'm for life, you can't protest that peacefully. You might be arrested when this law gets passed. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Come join me, Representative, because you've been standing up for the voice of the voiceless, our most precious, most vulnerable. You know, Representative Alkos, we had a beautiful, intelligent, gifted reporter at CBS 7 in West Texas that was born at 20 weeks. She was 20 weeks premature, and she made it. Yeah, very articulate, very brilliant. We did many interviews together. But in Hawaii, she could be torn apart, and her parts could be sold. And you cannot speak about it. You cannot peacefully protest that. What is going on? There's room for improvement in Hawaii. Speak to this.
That is really touching, and those are part of the reason why we run. And we need more Republicans out here that gonna stand up.
Woo, come on.
Bills that's coming on the floor. You know, it is sad to say that my colleagues out here, nice people, I can eat lunch with them, but the faith that they have and belief that they have, and seeing a child that they feel that their body, their choice, and they want to go with that kind of stuff. You know, I can see if it's a good thing when it's killing babies. You know, when it's not giving the freedom of life, changing the age from 18 to 16 to 14 to have an abortion without parents' consent, really breaks my heart to stand out here and seeing that a lot of people, if they know what's really happening to their families, would really get out there and do something. But they don't trust government nowadays. They don't trust us guys in office right now. They don't trust doctors. And we fail to trust in the people. But we need people to come up that gonna stand up, and someone that they can believe in. And regardless of what side, but as you say, doctor, to see life ends in how we're afraid, like using babies for body parts and making it more accessibility and people. I went to the University of Hawaii rally just a few days ago, and watching how much non-believers there are, and we gotta continue saving them, working and showing them the light and being the light for these kids. and for even adults out there. So our job is not just in this building, but we really appreciate you guys in supporting us to continue being who we are. And without you guys, we wouldn't even be here. So talk to your friends, talk to your families, and we cannot give up. Like Doctor said earlier, Jesus changed things with only 12. We got more than 12 here. And I know that there's so much more out there. So let's continue pushing and standing strong with each other, supporting each other. I signed one bill, was controversial, with the governor taking too much power over things. And I didn't understand that bill because some of these bills are written in lawyer terms, in between the lines. You don't see all these things. And I don't understand those things. And I'm taking it as a grateful heart that I want to help and save people. I want to make sure that, if there is an emergency, that we can use those powers correctly. But it is when you don't use the powers correctly is when people get hurt. Yeah. And I'm so glad that these guys, not just traveling to Hawaii, but traveling around the United States and taking action and keeping us aware of where we stand on. And yet we can work with each other throughout, not just this bill, but we're going to work with each other throughout the future to protect the people of Hawaii as much as we can. So really, I appreciate you guys here. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Valcourt. You are a leader. He's a light. And we need to support. We need to support.
2151.
Yes, there's many bills that we need to talk about. But it's about the people. The greatest resource of Hawaii is the people.
Yes.
It's not the pineapples. It's the people. And so, and our children. It's about our children. And the sacrificing of children, whether they're born or they're mutilated after they're born, this is unacceptable.
Yes.
And we stand up for the children. That's right. And that's what we're supposed to do. Jesus said, in Revelation, he says, I was hungry and you fed me, and I was naked and you clothed me. And it says in Revelation that people will say, when did I see you? And he says, when you did it for these people, you did it for me. Even if you did it for the least, even if you did it for the littlest, you did it for me. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're going to be measured by. And all of us will have to answer for the things we do. But we have some leaders that truly have the heart to serve and to stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves. This is that hour. And so we need to be vocal, we need to be loud. And if everyone here spoke to 100 people eventually, that's a whole lot of Hawaiian votes that would go the right direction. It does make a difference when the public speaks to the representatives, doesn't it, Representative?
Yes.
And so you do have a voice. And we had a patient rights bill that was shown to us yesterday that Representative Garcia wrote that died on the vine. It needed more. We needed to talk it up last year. And I told him, please present it again next year.
Yes.
You need to have your rights. It can be put in place. And we've been on radio interviews, we've been on podcasts, but one person can make a difference.
Yes.
In Texas, we have an Attorney General, Ken Paxton. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
And I met him before he had a lot of controversy, and I was allowed to pray for him in front of thousands of people who agreed with me. Shortly after that, he starts to really get on fire for the people and stands up against Pfizer and sues Pfizer for deceptive trade practices because he said they misrepresented when they said that their shot was 95% effective. And he said he had the evidence that their shot is less than 1% effective. He can't even prove that it's 1% effective. And he was ready to go to trial. When he filed that lawsuit, he had a multi-billion-dollar international organization that he was standing up to. It was a David and Goliath moment. And 5 days later, He's charged with 23 felony charges out of the blue, all on the same day, 5 days after standing up to this international multi-billion-dollar giant. Who, by the way, I'm not going to answer this, but do you know which organization has the record for the largest criminal fine in the history of the United States? Anyways, he went through the storm. They tried to impeach him. How could an international organization that has hundreds of billions of dollars sway elected officials to try to take down the top lawyer of the United States, of Texas? Well, it happened. They tried to impeach him, but he made it through all of that. And then I had him on my radio show, and he said, only God could save me, and God did save me. And I give God all the credit that I'm still here. Now he's running for U.S. Senator.
Woo!
It is
Hallelujah.
It's never over till God says it's over, and he hasn't said it's over yet. Has anyone heard him say it's over? I haven't heard it. So we're not helpless, we're not hopeless. One person can make a difference, Representative Alcos, and I appreciate you standing, because you are representing the people. You're not representing multi-billion-dollar organizations. You're representing the people who elected you, and you have a heart to serve. That's very clear. Everybody sees that. And Representative Garcia is the same kind. I appreciate that about both of you. Let's give it up for both of them.
Woo! Yes.
You know, I told Ken Paxton, when they said it was 95% effective, they didn't mean 95% effective at preventing the spread. Everybody knows that's not true. They didn't mean 95% effective at preventing disease. That's been proven wrong. I said, you should have asked them, is it 95% sugar-free? That might be more accurate. But there is deception on the other side. There's deception. The loudest voices, the most, Goliath was bigger, he was stronger, his weapons were bigger, he was louder, but there's a God. There is a God, and we are one nation under God. Our motto, our national motto is, in God we trust.
Yes.
Still. And, it matters. That's the difference maker. And so we need to pray. We need to stand up for the children, the keiki. We need to stand up for the children, whether they're born or unborn. You know, when there's a car wreck and a drunk driver hits a car and it kills a 20-year-old mother who's pregnant, that's a double homicide. In law, they say that's two people. They're right. There's two bodies. There's two souls. There's two hearts. It's not just two hearts. It's two whole human beings. Yet, there's this myth that's being propagated. There's this propaganda that's repeated over and over, and people start to believe it, that maybe it's not a human. There's never been a baby whale that comes out of a human mother. Humans have humans. There's two humans there. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a human. And so we need to stand up for our little ones. We need to stand up for the children. We need to stand up for parental rights. We need parental rights bills. Representative Alcos, please present a parental rights bill, because apparently that needs to be defined. And John, will you help give some input, please? Let's give it up for
Woo! Yeah. Hallelujah.
We need that patient rights bill. If you and Representative Garcia will present that. God can do there's nothing God can't do. And so if you will present that bill, and we will speak it up, we will talk it up across the nation, God can push that across the finish line. Yeah, let's do it. Patient rights bills, parental rights bills. And what patient rights are we talking about? Nothing crazy. We're just saying, all of us know that if someone has cancer, a doctor's going to say, well, you could get chemo, radiation, surgery, you could do hospice, you could do natural herbs. And who gets to decide that? Is it the patient?
Yes, it should
Yes.
Or is it the doctor? Or is it the employer? Or informed consent? What are all my treatment options? COVID or bird flu? What are the risks and benefits of those treatment options? And if there's a financial conflict of interest? During COVID, in Switzerland, in the University of Basel, they studied the Moderna shot and the Pfizer shot, and they found that 3 out of 100 people had elevated troponin, a blood test. I'm an ER doctor, and I work at a heart hospital emergency room, among other ERs. Guess what we take care of at heart hospital ERs? Heart attacks, heart disease. And we have people come in with chest pain. Some people come in and they're in really bad shape, and it's life and death. And we look at one blood test, the troponin test. Troponin is a chemical that's in living heart cells. It's not in the bloodstream. And when living heart cells die, explode, they spill the troponin in the bloodstream, and we pick it up on the blood test, and we know we have an emergency that is not going to go home, that's going to the ICU immediately. This is the test that's looked at worldwide. Any emergency room, if you're in India, New Zealand, Europe, and your troponin blood test is elevated, you're not going home, you're going to the ICU immediately. 3 out of 100 people that got the Moderna or the Pfizer shot had elevated troponin. That's a marker of cell death of the heart muscles. Myocarditis injures the heart. That's on the list that Pfizer said of diseases that are associated with their product, their Pfizer shot. Here's something you need to know. When someone has myocarditis, even if their symptoms go away, the 5-year survival is 50%. Meaning if someone has myocarditis, half the people will live 5 years. They may not have chest pain or shortness of breath anymore, but half of the people that have myocarditis will be dead. So again, 3 out of 100 have the test to show that their heart has heart cells die, called troponin. And the symptoms go away. I know, because I work with heart attacks in the emergency room, that troponin blood test is normal in 2 days after a massive heart attack. And so the spin that they gave was, well, yeah, they have elevated troponin, but in a couple days it's normal. It's normal even if you have a massive heart attack. So that shouldn't relax you, but that's what the message was. The propaganda is, it'll be okay, your troponin will go back to normal. It goes back to normal even if you have the worst of the worst heart attacks. Here's the fact, before COVID, half the people die in 5 years that have myocarditis. That is why informed consent is important. Patients deserve to know the risks and the benefits of every treatment option. That's an absolute risk. It's one that's unavoidable, undeniable now. There's montages of hundreds of people falling over dead on soccer fields, on newscasts, weathermen falling over, celebrities giving speeches and passing out. You can't deny it. And so myocarditis is commonly understood to be elevated for as a complication of the COVID shot. But the message again is not accurate. They're saying it's just for young men. It's an increased risk for all people, men and women, young and old. It's especially high for young men. And so you can see how they put the spin on it. Well, if you're older, that's really a problem for young men. It's a problem for everybody that gets a COVID shot. Here's another fact. In China, 3 years ago, they published a study that mice in the lab that got 5 or more COVID shots had their immune system destroyed. When you have no immune system left, that's AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. And so if you're a lab rat that gets 5 or more COVID shots, your immune system's destroyed. So I guess that means don't get 5 or more shots if you're a lab rat. But it might also apply to humans. And so there's a lot of information out there that needs to be shared, and there are solutions as well. There are some things that can help. There are treatments for people that are injured. But And so, as a friend of mine, as a retired highway patrolman, you may drive through a red light 3 times drunk, and you may not hurt, but don't do it a 4th time. There's no guarantee it won't happen. And so, for your loved ones, do what most doctors and nurses are doing now. Most doctors are refusing to get a COVID shot. Did you know that? The people that know what's going on are saying, no, thank you. Isn't that interesting? But they're still saying safe and effective. How unethical and how deceptive is that to say safe and effective, period, and not list the 1,200 diseases that the manufacturer says are associated with the product? 3 dozen autoimmune disorders, 12 heart conditions, 12 neurologic problems, strokes of every kind, whether it's a clot or whether it's a bleed in the brain. Both are listed. But you're not told that. When you go into a chain pharmacy and it says, oh, good news, we have the latest booster, light up and get your free shot, it's safe and effective. That's not true. That's a lie. And we have been lied to in the past, and time's up. And I appreciate JohnFleetwood.com exposing the truth. I appreciate Representative Alkos putting some laws on the books to put a line in the sand, in the sand of Hawaii beaches, saying no farther. We're going to protect the patients, we're going to protect the children, we're going to protect parental rights, we're going to protect constitutional rights. We were